I hate everything and bitch, you're no exception. Welcome back, Guitar Chefs. If you're new to the channel, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Brandon Deon, and I'm polite, honest, hardworking, talented, sexy, intelligent, arguably the greatest person alive right now, and humble. So if you haven't heard, I recently hit 100,000 subscribers, which means I've completed my new apartment tour and second microwave reveal. But in other news, nobody watched that video. I'm pissed off, but I'm not even mad. But despite the small and pathetic amount of views on that video, some of the comments were the best I've ever seen. One person said this: "Yo, this video inspired me to buy a microwave." Now that just may be the nicest thing anyone has ever said to me. But now that the 100K milestone has been crushed, next stop, 250K. And I asked you motherfuckers what I should reveal at 250K. Many of you suggested I do a PP reveal, like a surprising amount actually. The second most requested thing was I reveal all my guitars. The people have spoken. Guitar collection reveal at 250K. Also, we're on a mission to hit 1 mil before September of 2022. But don't subscribe because I haven't actually started the video yet. And I hate when other YouTubers ask people to subscribe within the first minute of the video. On to the video. It's a good old clickbaity title we've got here today. 16 chord shapes that every real guitar player must know. Because you're not a real guitarist if you can't play them. Well, fuck this shit, mate. So basically, I'm gonna show you 16 different chord shapes. Now let me clarify. I'm not showing you 16 different chords. I'm showing you 16 different chord shapes, which means it's just one chord, but I'm showing you a shitload of different ways to play it. So for those of you that are a little stupid, now we're all on the same page. All right, let's rush through these bitches. Make sure you stay till the end as well, because I'm going to be playing something that uses a bunch of these different chord shapes. Shit's gonna be beautiful. How disrespectful it would be for you not to stay till the end. If you do that, I'm gonna be canceling self-isolation. The coronavirus is gonna have a fucking field day, mate. Okay, we need a reference chord. How about C, since it tends to be the reference chord for literally every music example that's ever existed? A C major 7 chord contains 4 notes. If we stack them all in thirds, we get this basic as fuck piano voicing. Piano voicings tend to be more linear that way. For example, the chord that we just played was stacked 1, 3, 5, 7. If we actually were playing piano, we could stack it like that a few different ways, like 3, 5, 7, 1, or 5, 7, 1, 3, or 7, 1, 3, 5. But fun fact, this is a guitar lesson, not a fucking piano lesson. If you want to learn piano, go check out my friend Nico. I'll even link his channel below. But just for fun, let's see what happens when we try to play C major 7 in different piano voicings on guitar. All right, this is 3, 5, 7, 1. Let's get our root in there too. Ah! This is 5, 1, 7, 3. This one's actually sort of playable. Now let's try 7, 1, 3, 5. B, C, E, G. So as you can see, piano chord voicings on guitar don't really work. Fuck piano players. To solve this problem, we can use what's called a drop 2 chord voicing. And basically all that means is that we're gonna take the second highest note of each piano voicing and drop it down an octave. So instead of this, we'll drop down this C an octave because it's the second highest note in the chord, and we'll get this. Now we can actually play the chord on guitar. Sounds pretty as hell. But no need to cry and be a pussy about it. Now that you understand how drop 2 chords work, let's go through 4 of them. They're all gonna have bass notes on the A string. Notice I said bass note, not root. Because the intervallic structure for each chord is gonna be different, the lowest note is not always gonna be the root. But the first chord we're gonna look at is root position. You've probably even played this before. The second shape we'll cover is what's called the first inversion, because we're starting on the 3rd, which is the second note of the chord. The intervallic structure is 3, 7, 1, 5, okay? Next we'll play the second inversion. This shape starts on G, and the intervallic structure is 5, 1, 3, 7. Finally, our third inversion starts on our 7th, which is B, and the intervallic structure is 7, 3, 1, 5. This will conclude our A string bass note drop 2 chord voicings. You're probably freaking out right now because I took time out of my busy life to show you these chord shapes. How selfless of me. God, I'm such a great person. Now do me a solid and fuck up that like button. And we're only 25% of the way through. Lucky you. Now let's do all this again, but with D string bass notes. We'll start with our root position voicing. Now, assuming you're an idiot, which you must be if you're watching me, let me point out that the root position structure does not change just because we change strings. Got it? The intervallic structure is still 1, 5, 7, 3. So this is what we end up with. Next up is our first inversion. Again, the intervallic structure is 3, 7, 1, 5. And by the way, this is one of my favorite chord voicings in all the land. If you can't play this because your hands don't stretch, well, sucks for you. Now on to the second inversion. The structure here is 5, 1, 3, 7. And finally, we have our third inversion, which goes in the order of 7, 3, 5, 1. And for the record, if you don't know what I'm talking about when I say those numbers represent each note of the chord. So 1 is C, 3 is E, 5 is G, and 7 is B. And would you look at that? 8 different ways to play C major 7. Leave a bullshit comment saying which chord voicing is your favorite. I actually do read the comments too. Wait a minute, who the fuck is that guy? So how is this stuff useful? And is it really more useful than knowing that the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell? Well, let's just take a moment to think about what your life was like before you learned these chord shapes. Before learning the shapes, you were a pathetic loser with no friends. After learning the shapes, you're a pathetic loser with no friends who knows a little more about guitar than you did an hour ago. You can use these chord shapes to create some sweet ass chord progression, as opposed to the lamest fuck ones that you know deep down no one wants to hear. I don't know if you heard, but to help slow the spread of the coronavirus, governments have been teaming up with indie bands, stationing them in public places to play their original music so no one wants to go there. Alright, so that will cover the first half of the shapes, but we still have 8 more to go. Yeah! Now we're going to discuss drop 3 chord voicings. The way they work is similar to drop 2 chords, except they have a string skip. There are also specific situations where it's better to use drop 2 chord voicings as opposed to drop 3, but it fucking depends, mate. The intervallic structure of drop 3 chords is different than drop 2 chords. Drop 3 chords will also have E or A string bass notes, but not D string bass notes. For now, let's look at the shapes. Let's start with a root position drop 3 chord, E string bass. The intervallic structure here is 1, 7, 3, 5. Note how I am not playing the A string. Next up is our first inversion. The structure here is 3, 1, 5, 7. Next we have our second inversion, which is structured 5, 3, 7, 1. Fun fact, I really like this one. Lastly, we have our third inversion. The structure here is 7, 5, 1, 3. This is what it sounds like. Yeah, that one kind of sucks, mate. Okay, now let's go through the last 4 shapes. We're going to be playing these ones with A string bass notes. First up is our root position. Remember, the structure was 1, 7, 3, 5. Our first inversion sounds like this. 3, 1, 5, 7. Our second inversion here is quite a stretch when you put the bass note on the A string. Check it out. Look, if you can't play it because your fingers don't stretch that far and you genuinely want to play it, then just fucking practice until you can, mate. So don't ask me, I can't quite reach this chord. Do you have any tips for getting it better? Put your thumb on the back of the fretboard, curl your fingers, and just practice the damn thing. Nah, but seriously, people ask me questions all the time that could just be solved with practice. Do you have any tips for this? I'm struggling to play it and I don't know why. I know why. It's because you aren't practicing enough. The more you practice, the fewer questions you'll have. Seriously. If you want to know the fastest way to improve, which 100% is not by teaching yourself, it's by learning from someone who has already achieved what you're trying to achieve. Do exactly what they tell you, get their feedback, and repeat. That's how you accomplish shit in life, kids. But what the fuck do I know about achieving goals? I'm only out here living my dreams and shit. By the way, if you want to know what makes an advanced player and the one secret that separates a pro from a beginner, there's a link in the description below where you can watch a video where I explain these things. After you watch the entire video, you can book a free call with my sexy ass and we can talk for 45 minutes, one-on-one. So what the fuck are you waiting for? Go do that. No one else does this shit. On the call, we'll talk about your experience, goals, what you're practicing, and then we'll talk about my 52-week guitar player program. So yes, this call is free, but don't call me if you're poor. And don't call me just to talk. I've done enough of these calls to be able to recognize what someone's intentions are within the first 5 minutes. And I have hung up on people. I'm running a business here, not a fan hotline. Subscribe to my channel. Now, final chord shape of the video. We're gonna play the third inversion drop 3 with A string bass. The intervallic structure is 7-5-1-3, which is no different than when we put our bass note on the E string. Let's hear how it sounds. And this, kids, is how you make a major chord sound dissonant. And there we have it. 16 chord shapes that every real guitar player must know. Love me some good old-fashioned clickbait. You're welcome for educating you more than any other theory class you've ever taken in your life. You can learn a lot more about different chord shapes from my chord shape library ebook. It has over 200 different shapes, and it's only $27, mate. If you're too poor to afford that, how do you afford internet? I know we're experiencing a recession right now, but Jesus Christ, get your finances in order. Wait, do you remember at the start of this video when I said I'm gonna be playing a tune that uses these chord shapes at the end? Well, let's set it up, mate. Also, fuck up that like button and leave a comment telling me about your day or some shit that I don't care about to help the algorithm. Guitar chefs, that's going to conclude this video. I'm on a mission to hit 1 million subscribers by September of 2022. But don't subscribe to my channel. In fact, you know what? Just leave, okay? I don't want you here.